Comrades, we all know the story of Chernobyl, da? Reactor 4 boom. The disaster that changed the world. The explosion that brought down Soviet Union's pride. But what if it didn't happen? What if instead of Chernobyl exploding, it became triumph of Soviet power? In this world, things are different. Very different. The year is 1986. The reactor test goes perfectly. Niet explosion, niet radiation cloud. The engineers, heroes of Soviet Union, complete test without issue. Chernobyl stands tall, proud and operational. The Soviet government, they are very pleased. They declare it a success, a shining example of Soviet technological superiority. The world looks on in envy. But this is only beginning. With this great victory, the Soviet Union's ambitions grow. The power of the atom is ours, and we will use it to reshape the world. More nuclear reactors are built not just in the USSR, but across Eastern Europe. Soviet nuclear energy lights up sky. Our nuclear reactors are beating heart of Eastern Bloc, fueling industry, cities, and very future itself. By 1990s, we are not just superpower, we are the nuclear power. America, France, and Japan are far behind us now. But here, the story takes an unexpected turn. You see, success makes one arrogant, and arrogance, it is a dangerous thing. Nuclear reactors spread across all of the USSR. The biggest and most powerful one was in Vladivostok, an absolute mega nuclear installation. Let me take you deeper into final days of our great nuclear empire. You'll see, the explosion at Vladivostok, it was no ordinary disaster. This was the event that shattered a very foundation of Soviet power, a tragedy that sent shockwaves across the globe, a catastrophe far worse than anything Chernobyl could have caused. In 2001, near great port city of Vladivostok, the pride of nuclear engineering stood, a massive reactor built not to power only just city, but much of Far East. This reactor was supposed to be crown jewel of our nuclear empire, the beacon of Soviet supremacy on world stage. But as we grew more confident, more ambitious, we overlooked the cracks, the warnings, the small signs that something was not right. They were ignored, brushed aside, minor issues. After all, we had mastered the atom, had we not? What could go wrong? But in early hours of one winter morning, a routine maintenance check goes wrong. A valve sticks, pressure builds. The cooling system, which should have been double checked, begins to fail. Alarms sound. The workers try to fix, but the emergency protocols are outdated, forgotten in the rush to expand for our nuclear reach. And then, in instant, it happens. The reactor explodes with a force no one could have imagined. The blast level surrounding area vaporizing everything within kilometers. The city of Vladivostok, comrades, is wiped from the map. Over 500,000 souls gone in seconds. But the explosion is only beginning. Radiation pour from shattered reactor carried by wind across Asia, China, Japan, Korea are all hit with deadly fallout. Panic spreads like wildfire. The world looked on in horror as greatest nuclear disaster in history unfold. This is no Chernobyl. This is far worse. The radiation cloud moved east, crossing Pacific Ocean. By the time it reaches the western coast of the United States, panic has turned to terror. The once mighty Soviet Union is now pariah of world, blamed for disaster that knows no borders. In what of Moscow? The government tries to cover up at first. Denial, lie, like old habits, they cling to secrecy. But this too big to hide. Protests break out across USSR. The people, once loyal, now demand answers. How could this happen? How could the government, so powerful, so confident, fail so completely? Internationally, the world demands justice. Sanctions imposed and allies begin to abandon Soviet Union. Fearing further disaster, great Soviet nuclear empire crumble overnight. The leaders of Soviet Union, those who push for more reactors, more expansion, are blamed for disaster. They are removed from power. Some even try for criminal acts against humanity as global death toll from radiation mount. China, Japan, and even America are furious. Our dream of nuclear dominance has turned into nightmare of international isolation. Vladivostok becomes symbol of our downfall, a reminder that in pursuit of limitless power we lose sight of dangers we create. The world now remembers Soviet Union not as mighty superpower, but as empire that consumed by atom. Through it control everything. Vladivostok becomes the symbol of our downfall, a reminder that in pursuit of limitless power we lose sight of the dangers we create. The world will remember the Soviet Union as a mighty superpower, but as the empire that was once consumed by atom, it thought to control. In the end, comrades, we must ask ourselves, was Chernobyl a blessing in disguise? Did that disaster through tragedy prevent an even greater catastrophe? Perhaps the explosion we remember in 1986 was the warning we needed to save the world from even worse fate. So, in this alternate history where Chernobyl never exploded, where the Soviet Union rose higher and higher, the ultimate fall came with Vladivostok, a tragedy of far greater magnitude, and with it the curtain falls on the Soviet nuclear empire. This has been Rewriting the Past. Join us as we continue to unravel the threads of history and show you how one moment, one choice can change everything. Subscribe now and prepare for more journeys into what could have been.